Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV, the Joy and the Pain podcast on the TalkSport network is all live and up and running. And today we're looking at the new arrivals to League Two, and there's one team that seems to be getting quite a lot of media attention. So we thought we'd better talk to Nathan from Wrexham. How you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, really appreciate it.
No, it's good, mate. So for those that have never heard about Wrexham, is there anyone?
Yeah, I was going to say, where have you been? Have you been under some sort of rock? No, Wrexham are. Yeah, it is. You know, as a lifelong fan, it is very, very strange, very enjoyable, as you can imagine, but very strange to see. You know, Wrexham getting so much global attention, as in in my opinion, Wrexham are probably the most talked about team outside the top six of the Premier League.
Absolutely.
You know, I think it's hard to argue against that in the world. And you know, for the lifelong fans, I mean, I've been all over Ebbsfleet, Dartford, Aldershot, and we've lost and played rubbish and changed our squad every year. And every club's had that. I know every club's had disappointing seasons, but we had a long time of rubbish. And so yeah, I'm enjoying every minute of this now.
Well, on our channel, we talk about the joy and the pain. I'll get that right in a minute. Yeah.
And, there you go.
You've got to endure the pain to fully appreciate the joy. So, as a Wrexham fan, you're probably very aware of the trouble there. I think before we get to more recent times, if we just sort of step back, back in 2004, people may be not aware, Alex Hamilton was the chairman then, and he gave notice to for Wrexham to leave the stadium at the racecourse ground. He wanted to put houses on there.
Yeah, and, it's well, he actually wanted to put a B&Q on there. And that was so every time we see a B&Q in Wrexham now, we're always a bit jittery. But I mean, we can joke about it a little bit now, but it is still very sore topic. And you know, the documentary, if you've seen Welcome to Wrexham, they did touch on it. And I say that because it's not to be spoken about lightly or for any club really, you know, with any kind of trivialness, because it's not funny. It's the idea that you could be kicked out of, you know, the oldest international stadium in the world, one of the oldest clubs. Being kicked out your home, and with so much history there. And before we came on, we were talking about Porto and Zaragoza and Roma, and you know, Wrexham's rich history in Europe through the Welsh Cup and in the Cup Winners' Cup, and all that would have been eroded. Arsenal, Mickey Thomas scoring in front of the you know, we call it the tech end, you know, behind one of the goals. You know, all of that would have been eroded as soon as you move. And so what the fans did then, you know, the takeover is for everybody, for newer fans and for younger fans, but it's especially for those that fought, you know, with their own money and their own, you know, mental health and everything like that.
2,000 in the supporters trust, wasn't there?
Yeah, but you know, everyone who sacrificed time and money and all sorts of stuff, you know, that they sacrificed to keep the club. You know, without them, we don't have we don't get this Hollywood ride now, and we don't get to be one of the most hated teams in League Two, and everyone's jealous of us and all that sort of stuff. We don't get that because the club would I dread to think what would have happened. So yeah, I'm very proud looking back that, you know, I was younger than I was starting to go watch matches in 2004, that kind of time.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't there on that front line helping like I probably would be now at the age I'm at now. Yeah. So yeah, I've got an immense amount of gratitude to those that did save us then.
Because you were saved then, but obviously there was the administration as well around that kind of time. So very difficult time, and then falling out of the league after 87 years. Obviously that's sort of deep felt pain. From a Walsall perspective, we've been sort of flirting with relegation, and the risk of falling out of the EFL is sort of a big scary one, really. And the National League, it's no easy ground, is it now? There's a lot of money spinning around there. it's not just Wrexham. There's other teams in there that have had a lot of money, the likes of Chesterfield and that, are throwing some big money around trying to get back into the EFL.
Yeah,
But of
it's
course,
tough. It's tough. It's a tough league. It's a tough league. It's people will say, well, Wrexham bought their way out of the league. I mean, we've tried every other way. We got 98 points behind Fleetwood Town, Jamie Vardy, when we didn't have two pennies to rub together, really. The fans were chipping in the money. We got to the final, lost to Newport County, obviously one of the former clubs of Michael Flynn. You obviously you lot know well. And kind of we tried every other way. And look at the teams that come up that do well. They've spent money. So I don't care one bit about anyone who says, oh, you spent this much or you spent that much. Wrexham produced a record season. And I would say that if you do go down, it is one of the most gut-wrenching things because the journey back to prosperity is so hard. It's so hard. You've seen Scunthorpe go straight through.
That's
You've seen Oldham basically have to spend a bit of money. Scunthorpe went, Oldham nearly went. And it's tough. It is, you've got to go to places like Bromley and Boreham Wood and these real savvy teams that you would look down on now as a football league team. You look at them and say, well, we're in a different level to them. But when you're in the same league as them, it doesn't matter where you've come from or where you've been. Joy and pain, you were saying. A lot more pain than joy, I'll tell you that for free.
You've sampled a bit of the joy there, haven't you? That's it.
Right. Now we're getting some of the joy. We're in. If anything, we're owed a lot of joy. I don't know. If we're at about 12 years of 13 years of misery. Yeah, there you go. Probably.
Yeah, I think just before the Ryan Reynolds and Mulvaney guy came in, I think you finished 19th. I think the previous season.
Yeah, it's tricky to read a lot into that. I've spoken to quite a few players from that time since, on the podcast and just as kind of friends and acquaintances. Yeah, it was a bad season. Don't get me wrong. It had been turned around. Dean Keats came in and did improve it, but there's a lot of talk about, COVID saved us. I think we would have stayed up anyway, but yeah, there's no getting away from the fact that we were channeling in the wrong direction and not the right one. We weren't pushing towards promotion at that point than we were kind of a few years before.
Yeah, you touch on Dean Keats there, obviously Walsall legend that sort of left you, and I think you're quite disappointed when Dean Keats went back to Walsall.
Oh yeah, we were cursing Walsall at that point. We were calling you lot every name under the sun because we were flying high at that point. We were in a really good playoff position with a squad that we felt was pretty competent. It wasn't going to run away with the league, but it was a playoff contending squad. Dean Keats, all right, everyone will have an opinion on his style of play, but it was effective at the National League level. He was quite clearly getting us results. We had one of the best defenses ever with him in our history. And then you come along, flash your nostalgia and your Walsall millions or whatever you've got over there at Poundland Bescott.
Not millions, no, pounds.
Not
pounds
millions, no, pounds,
yeah,
pounds and pennies. Well, you man, look, you were, correct me if I'm wrong, were you League One at the time of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a two. So the way we looked at it was like,
I think
look,
it
in
was
any of
anyway.
our jobs,
I
I
think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Someone said if anyone came to you and said, "Here's a promotion to go up 2 levels," we'd all take it. We'd all take that because
it's history with the club as well, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't anyone. It wasn't anyone. So we understood it, but were we disappointed? Absolutely. And did we like Walsall at that point? Not very much.
I think Dean Keats is Dean Keats did a great thing by bringing Andy Cook to Walsall, but Andy Cook was such a character and a difficult character. I think he did well to get him, but then couldn't manage him, and I think ultimately that proved his undoing. Andy Cook did well for us, but sort of fell out with the fans, and it all sort of went a bit pear-shaped, really. And I think Dean Keats sort of perhaps didn't cope with that side of it so well, and I think that was probably his undoing, really.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Andy Cook, he really wanted to get Andy Cook for Wrexham for years, for years and years and years, and couldn't get him for whatever reason. As I said, finances were dictating that it was quite hard to get these kind of top tier talents at the league. And we've seen Andy Cook now at Bradford, top scorer in League Two, right? So he's clearly still performing. But it's an interesting one because certain players, a cliche, but would run through the brick wall for Dean Keats. They loved him because he knew what it meant to be a player. He'd been our captain, obviously a legend for Walsall as well.
Yeah.
But certain players are tricky. Certain players are tricky to manage, and Andy Cook's flying now at Bradford under Mark Hughes, but not to be for you guys.
Just signed another 3 years for him, hasn't he?
Yeah, just not to be for you guys, unfortunately.
No. In some ways, I think at the time, Walsall were happy to see the back of him because they'd sort of fell out with him, really. I think supporters had. But it was clear that he was a goal scorer. And he's not particularly quick, but he knows how to score goals. And that doesn't matter what level you're at. If you can score goals, you're a goal scorer, aren't you? I know it does get harder as you get to the higher levels, undoubtedly. But it's still tough. So what was your first thoughts when Ryan Reynolds and that came in? Did you think this is Christmas, or did you think what the hell's happening here?
Both. I don't know. Disbelief first and foremost, because hang on. Ryan. I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So Rob McElhenney was that in and of itself is just as a fan of the show, that is in and of itself a crazy thing. I heard the name Ryan Reynolds and I thought, there's no way this doesn't go through because people of that level of fame won't be attaching themselves to things that aren't successful. That's right, and B, he is the definition of an A-list celebrity. So you can say what you want about Rob McElhenney. I love him. A lot of people do, but Ryan Reynolds is an undisputed global superstar. And I knew that sponsorships, players, the documentary that had already been reported on at that point, everything was going to explode. And I knew from that moment on, when we knew it was Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, nothing would be the same again. Wrexham would never, ever be the same club that it was, when I was writing for the programme, or, when we would go and there'd be 3,500, 4,000 there. I knew that from that day on, it would never be the same.
Yeah. Rob McElhenney, I don't really know much about him, but obviously Ryan Reynolds, I think you need to be living on the moon to not know who Ryan Reynolds is. I would love to have him on the channel and sort of talk to him about La La Land just to wind him up.
There you go. Well, hey, you never know. Never say never. He came on our channel, so you never know.
But you've had him on your channel.
Yeah, he came on recently. He's very a fan of the podcast, and he wanted to come and have a chat, which is very generous of him. Yeah, very nice guy, very down to earth, and very down to earth bloke. And yeah, I was very nervous, but then once we were chatting, I was like, I'm chatting to you now. It was very, very relaxed.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I'll get him on, talk about La La Land and pretend he's Ryan Gosling. That would wind him up.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure they'd take it in good jest.
I'm sure he would. I just got a couple of little things on here. Let's have a look. We've got so glad we got out of National League at the first time of asking, the hardest league to get out of. That was Bristol Rovers, I think.
Bristol Rovers, I remember Bristol Rovers. I think, again, they all kind of blew into one. I think it was Darryl Clark was managing, and then they were just very slick. And it is hard to come down and come back up. I think I've seen Cheltenham do it. I think Bristol Rovers did it, but not many. Not many do that, where you're able to drop down and regroup, and because you've got to be bad to go out of League Two. We haven't been in League Two for a long time, but when you look at it from afar, you've got to be really bad. You've got to be sort of criminally mismanaged to go down there.
Walsall have been trying the last 3 or 4 years. We've been getting close to it. Hopefully things are on the turn. We're hoping so, but you never know, really. When Walsall came down from League One, we thought, League Two will be a stroll. We'll be back up again. And 4 years later, we're still not even looking close to returning, really. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one. The Rovers guys just got one other comment here. Hang on. They only spent 15,000 on Nathan Blissett. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, they were good. They were good. They were good.
So Bounty Rocks. I've no idea what that means. Does that mean anything to you?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe they can elaborate. I'm not sure.
Okay, now here's a big one. Do you think Wrexham will make it to the Premier League? Has Ryan Reynolds got that much money?
I mean, right, but then on the flip side of that, do we currently have more money than Luton Town? I would probably say yes. And Luton Town are in the Premier League next year. So can Wrexham get to the Premier League? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. But if the question was, can they get to the Championship? Definitely. I think it'll come across as too confident, too arrogant, taking the league. Wrexham should be, barring a disaster, in the playoffs at least next season. I would be surprised with the squad we've got, which has been built for League One, in their opinion, with a couple of tweaks. I would be surprised if we finished outside the top 7. And that's with respect to the likes of Grimsby, who'll be improved, and Stockport, who'll be thereabouts again. MK Dons, I like the appointment of Graham Alexander. Forest Green Rovers will have a go. Dale Vince will want to spend money. Bradford will want to have a go. They've got the top scorer in the division, Andy Cook. Mark Hughes is no mug. Mansfield, again, they'll be tough with Nigel Clough. So they're at Notts County. They will have a go. They can keep Langstaff. They're probably going to lose Rodriguez, on a free. But if they get David McGoldrick, I mean, that's a very good signing for League Two if it's him and Langstaff up top. So there will be competition. But Wrexham with Paul Mullin, with Elliot Lee, with Tom O'Connor, with the expected signing of Ben Foster, Aaron Hayden, Ben Tozer. Although the EFL came out today and they've banned the use of towels before throw-ins. I don't know if you saw that, which is bad news for our long throw specialist.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would you ban a towel?
Well, the players are not allowed to use towels now on the touchline, which has obviously been a big feature of Wrexham's long throw routine. So I don't know.
That's easy to get round, though, isn't it? You just have another ball that's dry to switch.
Yeah. I mean, there's always ways around it. But Ben Tozer likes to sort of do it himself, get the perch on the ball. I don't know, all these different things, but we'll see. But yeah, my point being that there's going to be a lot of, it won't just be Wrexham. I'm not going to come here and say Wrexham are going to run away with top spot in League Two and are going to fly through League One. But can they get there? Absolutely, because you said it yourself about Ryan Reynolds. You've got to be on the moon to not know Ryan Reynolds. Everybody wants to attach themselves to Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds helping you as the face of your brand or being linked to you is a very good thing. So what's going to stop, I don't know, Ryan Gosling or Dwayne The Rock Johnson or any of these movie stars that he knows saying, you know what, I'll chuck in 5 million or 10 million for a minority stake. You never know with these things. You never know as it goes up. Can Wrexham get there? Absolutely is the answer to the question.
Yeah, just your mention of Ben Tozer with the long throws. Walsall tried that. We had a long throw guy, but we never got any goals from it. So that's.
Really? What were you lacking? Were you lacking the people on the end of it though? Were you lacking height and physicality, or?
I think essentially they were just aiming for one player. They've thrown it in just one player. It got surrounded by 4 centre halves, and it was sort of never really happened. Really, it's funny. We talked with obviously the Ryan Reynolds thing. The previous sponsor that you had for a while, Ivor Williams trailers. For 5 years, and then we got like TikTok, Expedia, Aviation America, and now United.
There you go.
Yeah, now United Airlines and Vistaprint and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's amazing.
Strange times. Yeah, it really is, because, as I said to you, we used to have a thing called Build the Budget, where fans would put money into buckets all season long, and that would be your transfer kitty for the summer. And just imagine that for a second. Just think like the fans would be chucking in 2-3 quid, £5, £10, something like that, and eventually you'd pool all that together and you try and get a squad of players at the end of it. And we've gone from that to having, I mean, United Airlines, the second biggest airline in the world, something like that, on the front of our shirts for 2023-24, which won't come cheap from their side, because Wrexham is now this huge commercial beast. So
Ollie Palmer from Wimbledon, 300 grand. That's a lot of pounds, isn't it, in the bucket?
Yeah, I mean club
Yeah.
record signing. I wasn't sure how long the Joey Jones being our record signing would last. You know, Joey Jones is the legend. Mr. You know, he is Mr. Wrexham, the legend, the one figure that I am campaigning to get a statue at the ground whenever they get round to that, if they ever get round to it. Love that, and there'd be no one in Wrexham that would be against that. He had, I think his record transfer was something like 220,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Ollie Palmer, 300,000, blew him out the water. So it's an interesting one. It's are we going to go and make another splash this summer? I think we'll make one or two. Not sure we're going to be poaching any of your players. I don't know. Anyone we should be keeping an eye on?
I don't think you'd be after any Walsall players, to be honest. I don't think so. Not at the moment. Let me just go to another message. 1 second. What do you think? Transfer Troy Deeney to Walsall? Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Let's have a look. Let's get another Ryan Reynolds one. There's always Ryan Reynolds questions. Would you have been promoted if Ryan Reynolds hadn't come? I think you're pretty close to it. I think a little bit. But
the second part of that question: would we have the players? Would we have the players we do? Probably not, because we wouldn't be able to afford them.
No.
To answer that bluntly, you know, we couldn't get Paul Mullin under the previous regime. We couldn't get Ollie Palmer under the previous regime. Couldn't get Elliot. Couldn't get any of those players.
The big one with Paul Mullin, he'd done very well for Cambridge and got them promoted from League Two to League One.
Yeah.
And then when he went to Wrexham, it was like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. And I think, and then the talk was that he was on $9 grand a week.
The talk's on. He's on all sorts of money. I can assure you. I've not seen his contract, but I can assure you from people well in the know that he's on nowhere near that. I can assure you. But there are massive benefits for him that come outside of, you know, he's closer to home. That he's said on the record multiple times that is very important to him. He wants to be with his son. He's doing a lot of charity work for autism. His son is autistic. He's doing a lot of work in terms of raising awareness of autism and wants to be at home in Merseyside as much as possible. That obviously was difficult being at Cambridge. And, you know, there was some interest about Middlesbrough, teams far away, you know, that would have made sense going up the pyramid, but not Premier League. And he wants to be, he's adored at Wrexham. He's got a book coming out. His autobiography is coming out, endorsed by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. That's later this year. He's the star of the document. You know, he's the star of the documentary. Ryan Reynolds is absolutely obsessed with him. I think he put him in his recent Mint Mobile advert. You know, Paul Mullin.
Goals last season.
Yeah. I mean, a genuinely remarkable player. I'd say he's a club legend already after 2 seasons, which is, I know that word gets thrown around loosely, but he's remarkable. You know, he is incredible, and where he ends up in our all-time scorers list is anyone's guess. I mean, he could be right up there, top 3 of all time.
Well, he's going to be heading up there, isn't he?
He's got to be.
What's your attendance at the moment? You get about 10,000, don't you? I think. Is that
right?
Normal
yeah,
attendance?
10,000. Yeah,
that's a regular attendance. In the ground, or
yeah, that's we couldn't get much more than that in there right now. They're redeveloping the Cop end. So kind of I mean, I can't say to the left or right, depends where you're sat, but behind one of the goals are developing that, and that will be a new 5,500 capacity stand. That'll take it up to about 15,500. That in turn then should elevate the allocation given to the away fans, because obviously quite a lot of home fans will gravitate into the new stand. And then we'll be at 15,500. It's bigger than Luton. It's bigger than Bournemouth. It's bigger than some teams in the Premier League in terms of their grounds. And then from there, apparently they want to redevelop the stand behind the other goal. Lots of plans. I mean, they want to get that to a probably 20,000 plus stadium, I think. Double it.
How did you get on with away matches with such a big support? As
tough.
You say, Bromley and that sort of stuff.
It's tough. Of those 10,000, I would say you can safely say 6,500 to 7,000 are not going to go away from home for any game all season. They're just not going to go. They're going to go to all the home games. So then you've probably got 3.5 that would, if they could, go to the away games. I mean, our allocations are. It depends. I mean, I've been to Weymouth on a Tuesday night. You can imagine we didn't sell our allocation to Weymouth on a Tuesday night. And Paul Mullen actually came along at the end and shook everyone's hand that came to the away ground. They're far.
Yeah.
They are. Gateshead on a Tuesday. But next season we've got a lot of northern games. Not just Walsall, but a lot more games within close proximity. And I would say, I don't know what the allocation would be at Walsall for us, but I would
probably
say
2.5,
it's going to
probably
2.5. Yeah, that's pretty good.
probably
But if it's
2.5,
less,
maybe even 3. I think if Walsall wanted to cash in.
Yeah, cash in. I'd say if it's kind of 1,000 allocation somewhere, that it'll be a real scramble to get a ticket, and it'll be a kind of fight to the death we have that ticket queue now that comes up. It's that in demand, and you see yourself in the queue and you get closer and closer, and then when you finally get in, all the tickets are gone. So it's tough. It's really, really tough. But look, is this the price of success? Probably, I guess so.
Well, that's it. I think I was saying to my lad when we're pulling off the car park near to Walsall, and it was like, if we go up into the next level, it's going to be so hard to get off the car park, and you have to arrive earlier, and takes you longer to get off the car park and that sort of stuff for the bigger games. So
yeah, I mean, do you see that, like, for example, next season, do you think there'll be, from a home perspective, do you think there'll be a change in people coming to watch the Wrexham match in particular because of the interest in Wrexham?
Because the focus that Wrexham has pulled, it is a game that Walsall fans are going to want to watch.
And, I mean, look, we saw that we saw that in the National League, is that a lot of National League teams were getting record crowds when Wrexham were coming to town, and that's not just 1,000 away; it's the home fans are packed in because it's always, a lot of the time they say, on the off chance that, well, what if Ryan or Rob turn up? Imagine Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney decide they want to go to the Bescot, and I don't know, let's just say last game of the season is away at Walsall and Wrexham can clinch promotion, then obviously, certainly they'll be there. And we'll know the fixtures soon, obviously June 22nd. But a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people go when Wrexham are in town because they're a little bit more intrigued. They've seen the documentary, they want to sort of see it. So it's interesting to see that.
I think before the takeover, it would have still been a reasonable pull, wouldn't it? I think.
I think so. But I
were you getting about 5,000-6,000 before, were you?
Yeah, we were probably around. I mean, it, like you said, you mentioned that season we finished 19th. I mean, the attendances were dwindling. They would drop into 438 maybe. But I mean, but then we were having, typically we were around like 5,500, 6,000. It was pretty solid still. But now you've got now we were kind of a passing, almost like a toll bridge to get to Liverpool and Everton. People were going through Wrexham to get there, and actually now they realise, well, Everton are a basket case right now. They're not fun to watch. Liverpool have had a tough season. Obviously, have had a good few years. Don't get me wrong. Man United have had a tough season, really. Man City, obviously, not loads of Man City fans about in Wrexham. And now they want to go to Wrexham. Now they're wearing the Wrexham kit. They know all the Wrexham chants, the songs. So that's been one of the big successes of the takeover, I think.
Yeah. You say next year, then you think Wrexham are definitely going to be top 7, you think?
I mean, this is, somebody will clip this up. One of your listeners can clip this up and play it back to me when we finish 13th or something. I think so. I think so. I mean, I'm going to give my predictions in full soon on Rob Brown Red, but I'd be stunned, actually. I'd be stunned if Wrexham didn't get top 7.
Yeah, I think that the word of warning perhaps is Salford. Salford have had big money spent on them, and they just made the playoffs this year, I think, wasn't it, or just missed the playoffs?
Yeah, they did. They made the playoffs. Yeah. But I think the key difference with us and Salford is, I feel like we've got slightly better players than the ones they've had previously, and secondly, they chopped and changed the managers so regularly. They didn't stick. We've got Phil Parkinson. He's built out an identity, 3-5-2. He's got a squad of players. Wrexham is incredibly attractive to go to. You know, it's 10,000 every week, soon to be 15,000 every week. Salford, I don't know, 3, 4, 5,000. I'm not sure.
They're not very well supported, really.
No. So look, I don't want to turn this into a big shot at Salford, but Wrexham is, in my opinion, a different level. But the word of warning is there. I mean, look, Stockport struggled when they came in last season, didn't they? They were bottom half nomads for the first few months, it looked like, and then suddenly pulled it together.
Season.
They were. And yourself, you're fearful, or you're hopeful that maybe Walsall can kind of get top half and
forever hopeful, but I think top half, top 10 is the aspiration. I think if we were to make top 7, I'd be absolutely overjoyed. Reality.
What needs to go right for you to get top 7? Do you need to unearth a gem, or do you just need to really just it all stitched together?
To be honest, last season we had Danny Johnson till January, and we were 8th in the league. We'd got the third best defense in the league, and things all look good. And there's one player we'd had on loan from Cambridge, Liam Bennett. He went back in January, and then Danny Johnson, he'd scored 15 in 30 goals for us, and he went back to Mansfield, and that derailed us really. From that moment on, we were plummeting. We brought in Jamil Matt and Matty Stevens, which was the partnership the Forest Green Rovers had got promoted with the previous season. But Matty Stevens had come back from an ACL injury, and Jamil Matt wasn't fully fit, and they just didn't gel. It didn't really happen for them.
What's the mood on Matt Sadler? Because Phil Parkinson for us is, we believe, a manager more than capable. He's proven it in his career to get us promotions and win trophies and get to finals. Matt Sadler, a bit more of an unknown quantity.
Well, he was one of the coaching staff last year, and he's been with the club a long time. So he's like from one within, really. Graham Alexander was the name I thought that we'd have been going for, but of course he's gone to MK Dons. But Walsall had turned him down. So they went through a very rigorous process, but then when you look from the outside, it looks like we've gone for the cheap option. Previously, a few years ago, Dean Smith, he was the cheap option, and he did very well for us. And then obviously went on to manage Brentford and Villa, and do very well as a manager. And he got us up to 2nd in the league. And then the experienced manager, Sean O'Driscoll, came in to just see us comfortable into the playoff, into the promotion, and it all went pear-shaped for him. And he was an experienced head, so you never know. An experienced manager, you would think, would be the safe bet, but quite often the fresh guy does the difference, perhaps. It's what assistant managers he gets. There is talk of a Billy Davis and Dave Kelly combination coming in to support, but that's just pure speculation. But he needs experienced heads around him. So it's going to be, we'll have to see what happens in the next month. Like, Walsall haven't made any signings yet. So we'll have to see. But I think if we finish above Wrexham, I'll be overwhelmed and delighted.
You're going up. I think if you finish above us, you're going up. You'll be in League One next season. So if you finish above us,
from my point of view, I think I'm flirting with playoffs and really being involved in the playoffs would be a great season. We absolutely need to get back into League One as soon as possible. But with this, with yourselves and Notts County, that's 2 playoff spots taken, really.
Stockport will take 1. That's 3.
Yeah, Stockport will be up there. Bradford will be up there. Mansfield, perhaps.
MK Dons will fancy it. They'll throw money at it. MK Dons.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And then of course,
it's gonna be tough.
I think Morecambe.
But you look at Stevenage and go, they were nowhere. They were nearly relegated, and then all of a sudden complete 180 and in the top 3. So it can happen.
And again, Carlisle went up through the playoffs, but they were one of the lower budgeted teams.
Right.
There's much bigger money around, and they did it. So it's not all about the money, but the money helps.
It does. I can tell you from experience, it helps. It helps you get people like Paul Mullin, and he scores a lot of goals. And I think he's going to be in with a very good chance of the Golden Boot once again.
Yeah. I think, how old is he now, Mullin? He's still quite young, isn't he? He's only
20, 28 or something like that. 28 in his prime. That's what he is.
Prime, yeah.
Prime Paul.
It's I wouldn't be placing many bets on Walsall to finish above Wrexham.
I'd keep your money. Keep your money. Invest it elsewhere.
Well, not last year, the year before. I put 3 bets on. I put a bet on for Walsall to finish top 3, top 7, and then I put one to finish top half, just like a safety bet if the others 2 didn't come off to even up the money. And I lost all of them. Lost £3.
No. Where did you finish?
£3 I lost with bets 15th, I think.
I know.
So
never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
Tough stuff. But it looks like it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to feel like the Championship with the likes of yourselves and Notts County about.
I think there'll be a lot of fume every time Wrexham get picked for TV, every time Wrexham get talked about in any other TV game. I think there'll be a lot of jealousy flying around, and I'm sure Ryan Reynolds will be getting sent lots of messages from other fan bases. It's going to be fun. We're enjoying it, enjoying the fume, because if people are angry at Wrexham, it means we're relevant again. Obviously, we're very relevant right now with the ownership.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, on the face of it, it promises to be a very good season for Wrexham. Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's no guarantees, and Salford proved that, and Stockport proved that last season. No guarantee.
And in League Two, you've got some teams who like to play it, and other teams that sort of a much more physical element. And the quality is stepping up compared to National League for you guys. So it's a more competitive game every week. And of course, everybody will want to beat Wrexham.
Yeah, but everybody wanted to beat Wrexham this time, and the quality was the quality was so obvious. And like you say, maybe it won't be as obvious this time round, but Mullin, I mean, will be one of the best strikers in the division. That won't be up for debate. Ben Foster would be technically one of the best goalkeepers even at his age, would be one of the best goalkeepers in the division. Aaron Hayden, who we got from Carlisle, is one of the best defenders in the division. I mean, Jordan Tunnicliffe we got from Crawley. He was in the League 2 Team of the Year before he joined us. Ben Tozer got promoted into League 1 with Cheltenham. Owen O'Connell joined us from Charlton. They're all absolutely top class. Who else have we got in there? Tom O'Connor joined us from League 1 Burton. He'll be one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. Elliot Lee will be one of the best playmakers. Andy Cannon's proved he dropped from the Championship. He'll be top class.
Yeah,
we're just gonna have players that I think are up there, top of the class in most positions. There's not gonna be many positions where we're inferior, I don't think, on a game day.
I think they're used to winning as well, is the thing. We noticed that when Wrexham came up. I think it was our 3rd game of the season. I think 3rd or 4th game of the season, and we were ahead of Wrexham, and then just kept going.
Stockport, not Wrexham.
No, Grimsby. This was Grimsby.
Oh, Grimsby. Sorry, Grimsby. Yeah.
Yeah, Grimsby. I'm old to get me words mixed up sometimes.
Grimsby. So you were ahead. You were ahead against Grimsby.
Yeah, we were ahead against Grimsby, and they sort of pulled it back, and in the last 5 minutes got the win, which was obviously gutting from our point of view. But it's testament to a team that are used to winning. And I think Notts County and Wrexham are both going to have that going into League 2, and that will take you a lot of the way, doesn't it? So it's all in the head, isn't it?
Notts County is an interesting one, because that team could get ripped to pieces. Their key players could be gone, and while they'll have elements of it. I mean, if they lose Rodriguez, they lose Aaron Naman, their right wing back.
Yeah.
You know, if they lose Langstaff, I mean, that's 3 of your best players there. How many do I that question on there? How many do I think Mullins scores?
Bill Faraday's question: how many will Mullins score? 46 last season.
I mean, I'm going to say I'll be conservative and say at least 30. I'll say at least 30 goals.
Is probably
and
probably a reasonable one.
if he scores 30 goals, happy days.
Yeah, that's it. If you get 2 players that have scored over 15, 20, you're well on the way.
Yeah.
We need playoffs, but Wrexham and Notts need to do better if we want playoffs. Now Kinsella and Month. Yeah, that's 2 big players for Walsall that have gone. Kinsella had been with Walsall from the age of 9. He was released at the end of this season.
Who's that? Lewis Kinsella? No?
Liam Kinsella.
Liam Kinsella, there you go.
Liam Kinsella, good CDM, very good ball winner, but doesn't offer anything at all going forward, really, I think is fair. Manny Month is a bit of a beast centre-half. There was a rumour he was going to Wrexham. I don't know whether that's true.
We're all stacked on the centre-half front, so I'd be interested if he does turn up there, but not that I've heard.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
We will see. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what you think of Wrexham because a lot will be made about Wrexham each week, and every game Wrexham won't perform. So it might be that at Walsall we don't play our best, and you lot will come away saying, "Now these are not all that; these are rubbish," and yet we might win 85% of our matches or whatever the case may be. So it's interesting because, like you say, it's about we've had 2 years of immense pressure to get out that league. We've finally done it. While there's an element of shackles off, there'd be immense pressure to get out of League Two straight away. And a little bad run of form, 3 or 4 games without a win, what will that do to, as you said before, the momentum that we've got in terms of winning? So I'm excited. I just think we need to hit the ground running. And we've got to hit the ground running. Can't go on like a 3 or 4 game, winless run to start the season. I think that'll undo a lot of the good work.
Got a Cambridge fan here. The reason Mullen scored so many goals was a lot to do with Houlihan in League Two. I think he'll get 20.
Yeah, I mean, look, Joe's question, Joe or Joey, forgive me.
Joey,
yeah. Wes Houlihan, obviously, I spoke to a lot of Cambridge fans and they said he was the key piece. Obviously, Wes Houlihan not at Wrexham, but we've got Elliot Lee and we've got Jordan Davis and we've got Ollie Palmer for interplay. A lot of players that create for him. Sam Dolby, I think, is brilliant. So while we might not have Wes Houlihan, very accomplished footballer, we've got a lot of pieces, and I'm sure that, barring any injury, and touch wood, don't want to jinx the injury gods, I think he can get 30. I really do, because I just don't see that number dropping from 47 to 46, 47 to 20. I just don't see it dropping by that many. That would be quite a drop off for a player that is so supremely confident.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I'll be proven wrong, maybe.
He's definitely going to be on the 20 plus. I think that's fair to say.
It'd be a disaster if he was on anything less than 20. I just can't see it. I can't envision it. He's too good, too talented. And he'll get too many chances to not get that many.
And as you say, because of his personal circumstance, he's not going to be lured away for Championship.
No.
And that sort of stuff.
No. Nothing like that. I mean, like I said to you, he's got the book. He's got the undivided attention of Ryan Reynolds. He's got the family situation. I mean, he's in absolutely no mood to run the contract down or to move anytime soon. So, cult hero status. I mean, he's going to be with us for a while to come yet.
I think when people put money, when we're talking about the Ryan Reynolds and the likes, when people put big money into a club, when they get to the EFL, you've got the fair play rules. But I think with all the sponsors that Wrexham have got, I don't think that's going to be a problem to them.
You've got it. You can spend. You can spend something like. Well, yeah, you can spend something. What is it, 5 times your turnover or something? Or there's something like that. It's something turnover related. I mean, Wrexham are making huge. Wrexham's turnover will blow any team in League One or League Two away comfortably. So I don't think it. It's just trickier, the harder you go up, and the longer you get stuck in a league, the more tricky it becomes to continue investing in. And these players are on 3-4 year contracts. It's tricky. So, We'll see. Let's hope. Let's hope I'm speaking to you in a year's time with Wrexham waving goodbye to League Two. And
we'll definitely get you back on, Rob, for our match previews, and
sure.
when we're coming up against Wrexham. And,
Yeah, well, we'll know soon. June 22nd, the fixtures are out, so we'll know soon.
June. Yeah, I think I'm hoping it's not one of the first fixtures because I've got a holiday, so I might miss the first match of the season. So I hope it's not first match of the season. That would be a disappointing one to miss, wouldn't it?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for you. Then it's not.
But thanks for coming on, Nathan.
Thank you very much.
I should say good luck to Wrexham, shouldn't I? Should I? Yeah. Good luck to Wrexham. Fair play.
I'll say good luck. I'll say good luck
back
to Walsall. I'll say good luck back to Walsall. You know, Dean Keats, iconic player for us. Walsall means a lot. Walsall means a lot. No, Walsall means a lot to him, and he means a lot to us. So I think all jokes aside, we just don't want to see Notts County go up.
So, which are the main rivals for you that you'd most like to beat, other than
Stockport?
Stockport.
I think Stockport County, yeah. Stockport, Notts, and Bradford will be our big three. I think they'll be our big rivals in terms of.
So you knock them down.
Mark Hughes. Yeah, they're the ones. Stockport, obviously, we've had a good rivalry with in recent years. Notts County, obviously, from the last season, and Bradford, they feel like the biggest fish in the league. They got Mark Hughes, obviously Wrexham link. That'll be a belter. That'll be a Trinity Valley parade as well. Look good. Yeah,
Bradford
that'll be a good one for us.
They give their season tickets away, I think, at Bradford.
Oh, do they?
I think it's very, very low. I can't remember the exact rate, but I think it's a very low price for a season ticket. I think it's something like about £200 for a season ticket, I think.
Oh, wow.
Something crazy like that. So, but we'll see. Right then. Walsall Fan TV, the joy and the pain. Hopefully, a bit of joy for Walsall, and it'll rub off from Wrexham. But, thanks again. Thanks for coming on, Nathan.
Thank you so much.
We'll speak to you again soon. Cheers, mate. Thanks.